The purpose of this video is to consider the misdemeanor of politicians and whether they should be removed from office because of the scandals that they generate. Recently, the news has been touched by various scandals which have brought down prominent politicians from their positions of power. I was thinking in particular of Boris Johnson, who was forced to resign from his position of head of the Conservative Party and head of the British government because of the so-called Partygate scandal. In the Partygate scandal, members of the cabinet were caught enjoying themselves against the rules that Boris Johnson had himself imposed for the pandemic on society, thus breaking in a certain sense rules of morals and ethics. Political scandals are common to human societies. Great scandals of the past which can be easily recalled are, for example, the Lewinsky scandal, which put great pressure on Bill Clinton but did not bring him to resign. And the other example which one can consider is the so-called Tangentopoli period, the graft scandals which touched Italy, which changed the political system in Italy and forced a prominent politician, ex-president of the council, the so-called Bettino Craxi, to run away and to flee to Tunisia. The issue we want to debate here is whether a politician should lose his position of power because of a scandal. Let us consider the reasons for and the reasons against. Some of the reasons for and some of the reasons against. One of the reasons which might bring the community to force a politician to resign is that the perceived integrity of the politician because of the scandal comes less. It's an issue of fraud. You see, the politician seemed more noble and more virtuous than what he proved to actually be. During the political campaign, the politician frauded the public, thus went against ethics and morals, and for that reason should be removed from office. The second reason which might bring to a removal from office, which might justify removal from office, is that the scandal shows traits of the politician that are not compatible with his job. Graft, corruption, leads to non-efficiency, and non-efficiency is something that one does not want within a government. Thus, somebody who is culprit of graft, who is culprit of corruption, might permit corruption to enter the government and the systems in which the government manages the public funds, which might lead to broad non-efficiencies which might harm society. For that reason, a politician that is guilty of graft or corruption is not wanted within the public system. And for that reason, such a politician should be removed from his post. The third reason which should bring a politician to lose his job due to scandals is that some politicians seek a political position, a public office, with a hidden agenda. The purpose is not to serve the public well, but rather to infiltrate the system, so to manage the system, so to benefit oneself and one's friends and cronies. An example of this is Manuel Antonio Noriega, who was leader of Panama. Manuel Antonio Noriega was also head of an important drug trafficking organization. He was accused of drug trafficking and of course he was also very corrupt. This accusation brought the United States to invade Panama in the 1990s and to remove Noriega from power. But it's evident that Noriega sought a personal position of power and well-being, not to serve the public good, but rather to serve one's own personal interest to the detriment of society. The fourth reason which should bring for the removal of politicians from power there where there are scandals is that scandals make non-capacity of management of politicians evident. Some scandals simply show that a politician can't do his job, lacks the specific capacities to do and exercise his duty in the right way. A fifth reason that justifies the removal of a politician from his position of power is the need of decency and propriety within society. It's a question of measure. Some scandals simply go beyond a certain point. Even if the single scandal might not be sufficient to remove a politician, the accumulation of scandals goes beyond a certain acceptable level, and decency is broken. The same holds true with propriety. Now, there are some issues which simply are not proper. Thus, breakage of propriety can lead to the loss of a position of power. The reason why propriety and decency are so important in politics is that propriety and decency bring peace. They also bring a certain degree of cohesion in society and permit great organizations to move forward without breaking to pieces due to internal conflict. It is decency and propriety which force such a great number of politicians to leave office. They simply can't go against this concept which is central to politics, these two concepts which are central to politics. Not all politicians lose their role because of a scandal. An example is, as we cited before, Bill Clinton, which was touched by a serious scandal, the so-called Monica Lewinsky scandal, which nearly brought him to lose his position as president during his second term, but failed to do so. Yes, he was impeached in 1998 after he had claimed that he had never had sex with Monica Lewinsky, only to retract such a position in a second moment. But nonetheless, the impeachment did not bring to a loss of position, did not bring him to lose his role of President of the United States of America. Bill Clinton had gone against both decency and propriety. It was not a proper thing to do to have sex with a stagiaire. Monica Lewinsky was a stagiaire in the White House. And it was not decent to lie to the public about the issue in itself. Thus, just as there are reasons which bring to a politician to lose his job, his position within society due to a scandal, there are also reasons which might preserve the politician from losing his position of power. And Bill Clinton was a politician which was struck by reasons which brought him to lose his position of power, but there were reasons that would have kept him in the role that he had gained through the election to President of the United States. Let's examine some of the reasons which protect politicians from losing their job due to scandals. The first reason that should stop politicians from resigning due to scandals is one that is tied to human nature. Human nature is corrupt and is subject to sexual temptations, let's call them so. And this is common in all of the social levels of society, in all the social strata. Thus, you cannot really give guilt to a politician for acting in line with human nature. For that reason, somebody that is accused of a misdemeanor, like a sexual scandal or minor influence peddling, corruption, cannot really be subject to removal of office, simply because he is reflecting a trait of the character of humanity, which is its nature of corruption and fallibility. The second reason by which a politician cannot be harmed by scandals is that the scandal in itself might not be relevant with what regards to the habitual job of the politician. You see, Bill Clinton in himself did an exceptional job when he was in government. He actually fixed the budget, and he was so popular that his popularity index towards the end of his tenure was slightly below that of the most popular president, which was Ronald Reagan. Thus, the scandal was a minus which was covered by other pluses, which were a result of the everyday work of the politician in his habitual environment. The popularity of Bill Clinton was probably one great reason for which Bill Clinton was not removed due to the impeachment in 1998. To consider that without success in his job, it is doubtful that Bill Clinton would have achieved such a position that defended his role as President of the United States. The third reason by which a politician should not be touched by scandals in his role and his position within society is that many scandals rise because of the non-due agendas of political opposition, which seek to so-called fling mud, to dirty the name of the politician with minor cases, so to bring down the politician from his position of predominance. Thus, minor scandals are placed in the public eye, so to bring the public opinion against a person that is trying to do his job. This is non-rect, non-just, non-honest, and simply non-decent. For that reason, the politician should be defended there where he is accused of so-called minor scandals, which seek to dirty his name. The fourth and last reason that I consider in this small video is that some behavior that is considered to be censorable in the eyes of decency and propriety and other concepts is simply born due to the stress of the moment. Bill Clinton claimed that he had sex with Monica Lewinsky so to deal with his anxieties. Now, human beings simply can't manage stressful situations with ease. Thus, there are some circumstances where a misdemeanor might be due to the harshness of the moment. For that reason, the politician is to be excused, for he's a human being like all of us, from the misdemeanor of which he is accused and should not be removed from office. There where there is a scandal, one has to consider the relevance of the scandal. One has to weigh the scandal's negative elements with the positive elements of the politicians and understand the nature of the circumstance. Once one has understood the nature of the circumstance, considering the reasons for and the reasons against, we have to arrive to a personal conclusion. And once we arrive to a personal conclusion, I cannot but encourage you, there where you have a similar situation in your own community where there's a politician which is struck by a serious scandal, to take action for the politician or against the politician. This because there where the individual takes action within the civil society, he secures that the system in itself is subject to functionality. You see, it's because we don't care of things that the society and the community falls to pieces. For that reason, we have to move to care about that which is critical for our communities, which is in a certain sense the correct judgment of the politicians and their right to stay in power. So, once you have arrived to a conclusion with regards to your local politician which is touched by a scandal, I strongly encourage you to take action to defend the politician or to seek to tear the politician down. It is our civic and moral duty to be involved in the civic affairs of our community. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you the next time. Don't forget to check out the other videos in the channel, they might be of interest to you.